Hello friends, those back pages here. I hope you're well. I also hope you are safe and practicing social distancing in these crazy times. The title of tonight's episode is Third-Party Grading is a Vessel. Excuse me. Let me see if I can reiterate that some or explain it or whatnot, whatever the word you want to use. We currently, here in 2020, live in an age of the internet. Well, I know that COVID-19 certainly seems to have been bringing things to a halt. We live in an internet age nonetheless. We do our shopping online, probably more so than now, but let's discuss the hobby. Third-party grading is a vessel. Well, what do you mean? Well, you have a seller who owns an item. You have a platform that sells the item, eBay, Facebook, whatever it may be. Instagram, very popular now. Twitter, to an extent. And then you have the buyer. So the idea is for the person selling the item to place the item up for sale somewhere and to get as much as they possibly can for the item under normal circumstances. You know, I'm not talking about selling to friends, family, loved ones. I'm talking about selling for the purposes of raising funds. Whether it is to pay bills, buy more product, fund one's PC, whatever it may be, buy more cards. That's not irrelevant. The job of the person selling the item is to get as much as they possibly can. Let's be realistic about that. Because that's fact. Wow, excuse me. So, you have an item you want to sell. It might be cards, it might be comic books, it might be coins, it might be toys. The four things I just mentioned all have a very prevalent third-party grading system. Now, you don't have to like it, but it's there. As much as people seem to want grading to go away, it's not going away. Grading is done by humans. Humans make mistakes. Grading is done by humans, and humans make mistakes. Third-party grading, much like politics and religion, very hard-nosed individuals when it comes to those subjects. You're not going to change someone's opinion, whether it's politics, religion, or third-party grading, and that's fine. I'm not here to change someone's opinion on third-party grading. If it happens, that's great. Obviously, I am pro-grading. I've been collecting graded cards pretty much for the last 15 years. Do I still buy raw cards? Yeah, I do. Would I prefer to buy graded? Absolutely. I'll give you one example. I've got a whole bunch of examples here. it was, I think it was in the fall. I like to collect Mike Trout Topps Heritage cards, pretty much the graded variety. And his 2019 card is a short print. I didn't seek it out that aggressively. I would look every now and again. And with these kind of things, it's here's what it looks like. Apologize for the band-aid. You'll have to get over it. I wound up going with the PSA 9 on this card. This PSA 9 was, I think, $2 or $3 more than a raw copy. This was about $15. For $2 or $3, I'm gonna buy this because for the most part, I know what I'm getting. The centering on this copy is pretty good, actually. It's a tough issue for centering. So yeah, for a couple dollars more, I'm gonna go with the 9. Now we can get into the politics of 9s versus 10s, and I've discussed that at length in the past. But the multiplier, which, by the way, here we are in April of 2020, and we're in the middle of a pandemic, and it seems to have had the opposite effect on graded cards. Sports cards in general, but graded cards. 10s have really shot up in price, and I couldn't tell you why, but they have. Now, we all collect cards for different reasons, and that's fine. I just happen to like this card, and you could probably get this card in your average condition for $1. I bought this a while ago. I think I paid about $15 for it because I happen to, this picture is at Shea Stadium, and it's Willie Stargell, and it's well centered. It's not an easy card to get centering on. Back's not very well centered. But I just happen to like the way it looks. And there's a lot of people that like the way graded cards look. There's a lot of people that don't. If you're one of those people that don't like graded cards, that's fine. Sometimes you want to buy a card. You can't find a copy, only a graded copy, and this card's going to be worth more in the future. Here's one of those cards. One of many I could show, but I chose this one because it's not going to look very good on camera, but this is a fantastic card with a very low print. It's a 2018 Topps 3D Ronald Acuna. I bought this for about $150 or $175, I don't remember. Probably about 2 weeks before it blew up. It wasn't available in anything but this, so this had to do. Would I have liked a raw copy or a 9? Ideally, yes. But I didn't pay a heavy multiplier for this 9.5. Sometimes you buy a card because you like the way it looks. Here's another card I bought. A 65 Topps Pete Rose. That is extremely well centered. If you follow this card, you know what I'm talking about. Centering on 65 is very tough. And this is a 3. Again, it doesn't matter what the assigned grade is. I own this card now. It's in my collection. It's a young Pete Rose at a very young Shea Stadium, taken the year it was opened, 1964. Love that scoreboard, miss it tremendously. Let's see. Sometimes you want a card. Here's another example that you want a card, but you can't find it. What's a good example of that? Well, you can find it in a higher grade, but you don't want to pay the ransom fee for it. But you want to own the card. So slabs are the perfect way to get that done. The absolute perfect way to get that done. Because a lower assigned grade is going to bring down the price. That's the way these things work. And these work to your advantage. Here's a Poulos 2001 Topps traded gold, which is numbered on the back to 2001. This is number 27 of 2001. I don't know if I can get that. There we go. There's the assigned grades. It has corners of a 7. Now, this corner has a ding in it. You can see it right there. So, probably when this was pulled out of the pack, someone dropped it. Saved me a bunch of money. I'm the proud owner of a 2001 Topps Gold Albert Pujols. If it weren't for that corner, I probably would not own that card. Because like everything else, we all have limits. So yes, worry less about the assigned grade, and more about owning the card. Here was a gift from a friend of mine. It's 10. Very proud to have it in my collection. It's probably gone up. I've had it a few years now. It's probably gone up a bunch. Here's a card I honestly didn't remember I had. But I'm glad I have it because it's probably worth more now. The 2013, which was 7 years ago, stop and think about that for a second. Garbage Pail Kids Chrome Series 1. This is the refractor version. Of course, Topps being Topps, there's no etching on there. But this is the original right here. It's a sticker. This is a card. But this is a sticker. You can see the outline there. From when I was a kid, I remember these very well. They were very popular. And again, I bought this 9. It was about $100 at the time. A few of you have told me over the years that these have gone up a bunch now. But again, the price point between a 9 and a 10, the 10 tax, as I like to call it, was ridiculously stupid. Here's a Tom Brady rookie and a PSA 7. A friend of mine gave me a great price on this. I don't mind the 7 whatsoever. Again, it's that corner. Seems to be a theme. But this is a Tom Brady Upper Deck rookie. If you don't have one of these, you should buy one of these. I told you guys to buy the Upper Deck LeBron. Now it's a whole bunch of money. If you absolutely have to have a 10, I think you're looking at $1,200 or $1,300 now. And that was $200-300 for a long time. Here's another LeBron rookie that, because of the assigned grade, a 6. This is individually numbered to $9.99 right there on the bottom. It's number 25. Again, close. But I can't tell you what's wrong with this card to make it a 6. But that's the assigned grade, and because of that, this was under $100. And that was a while ago. I don't know what these go for now, but an individually numbered LeBron rookie card. Yeah, that's right. Costly. Now, a couple other things here that I picked up. I should have covered these with some tape, but I did not, so we'll just go over it. This is I bought these a while ago because I bought both of these. This was $8, and this is a PSA 8 green prism, second year prism 13 with just absolutely gorgeous etching. Look at the basketball, look at the letters on his jersey, even the logo on his shorts. Just an absolutely beautiful card. And again, I don't care if it's an 8. You know, I bid on it. It was an auction. It was $8. Be a lot more now, I'll tell you that much. And here's a 2014 Brady Silver, which used to be called Prism. But again, look at that etching. Gloves. 12 on the jersey. Chin strap, for Christ's sake. Just incredible etching. Just a beautiful looking shiny card. Look at that. Just unbelievably. And again, for some reason it was signed to 7. Not my problem. Oh, it's got a scratch on it there. I don't think you can. I don't know if I can point that out. No. There's a scratch going right there. Jeez, I can't get it. There, as you can see it right to the left of the light. So yeah, there's a little indentation right there. That makes that a 7. Doesn't go through the card, nothing. Probably without an indentation, that's 10. And I'm not winning that for like $11. I think it was about 20 for both of these together. Use the assigned grades to your advantage. Don't worry about, oh man, I can't believe it's, you know, if I can buy a 10 for $1,000 and I can buy a 9 for $100, why am I buying the 10? I couldn't tell you. So we gotta show some SGC. I didn't want to pull any out, so I got a couple here. This is a 2014 Leo Messi regular base Prism 2014 World Cup. Because this is a SGC 10 Gem Mint, because it's an SGC holder, this was under $5. If this were a PSA 10, I think the cheapest they've been is like $45 or $50. So you want to sell me this one for 10% the cost of a PSA 10? Yes, please, and thank you. The same seller, no, it was actually a different seller, but I had a bunch of SGC stuff soccer stuff that I'd shown off in the past from the same seller. And I'm pretty sure you'll recognize, if you follow soccer now, if you follow soccer cards especially, you'll recognize this name. Jadon Sancho. One of definitely the top 3, you could argue 4 or 5, but prospects in soccer. You know, he was born in, so last month he turned 20 last month, March 25th, 2000. So this is from 2018, Topps Chrome, soccer, which is just, this is the UEFA Championships League edition that's come out 2 years. This year, hopefully the third edition will come out. But this is just the cool thing about this product is it's hobby only. It's probably, I think it's the only Topps Chrome release ever to be hobby only, and has continued to do so. But this is horribly off center, which you can't, if you don't know the issue, you probably can't tell. It's left to right is horribly centered. It's horribly off center to the left. Shouldn't be that much. Kind of like the regular Topps baseball. But anyway, this has the assigned grade of an 8. I was the only bidder on this at $4.99. $4.99 for a refractor. That is real. Not that there's a counterfeiting issue with this particular set, but this is why, you know, don't worry about the assigned grade. Worry about owning the card. Now again, you could just say, whoa, well, you know what, just buy raw cards then. Yeah, you could do that, that's fine. You know, I've done that. I've done the math, you know, between what a raw card is and what a graded version would cost me. And then, you know, I've decided, oh, I'm going to buy a raw card. And a lot of that has to do with not only the card itself or the issue, but, you know, your price point. You know, all of us have a price point that we're comfortable spending, period. But then there's, you know, if I'm going to buy a graded card, you know, if I'm going to spend $100 on a card, I'm really going to be looking for a graded version. There's a lot of reasons for that, a lot of stuff we don't really need to get into at this time. I can cover that in another episode if you like. But I got a couple more here to show. And, you know, for the most part, I am a PSA fanboy. But as I've shown tonight, and in the past, I've bought other companies. I've bought BGS and SGC as well. Again, it depends on the price. You know, they all have their advantages and disadvantages. Now, for refractors, I happen to think that, you know, base refractors, which tend to be silver, you know, even like that Tom Brady silver prism, but more so a card like this. This is a LeBron James 2007 Topps Chrome refractor. These are actually numbered to $9.99 on the back. But, you know, I bought this a long time ago, and the silver matches up with the flip. So that makes it an attractive looking card. I think it just adds to the eye appeal of the card. Now, the reason I'm showing this as an example is that I bought this for $70. At the time, PSA 9s were $120, $115, some $120, $129 sticks out for a reason, but somewhere around there. You know, maybe I could have talked them down to $110, but that's a huge. The PSA 9. Whoops, sorry, 3PO. I guess you got a little excited and you fell down. So it just works. The silver and the silver, it just works. And for the price point, I was just more comfortable buying this one. So proud to have that. Obviously, this is worth quite a bit more than what it cost back then. I want to say I bought that 3 or 4 years ago now. Something like that. So, one more example to show you that you're buying the card. Now here's a card. Would you buy this raw? At this point, would you buy this raw? I wouldn't, that's for sure. So here's 2 Hank Aaron rookies, and by the way, as of this filming, you know, it's a good time to buy a Hank Aaron rookie. You know, buy the best one you can afford, or whatever the eye appeal is. And speaking of eye appeal, here's a PSA 3, and this is another PSA. And this is a 2. And I'm really knocking everything over now. Oh. Go home, Eric, you're drunk. No, not really. Just tired. You know, the COVID wearing us down. So yeah. This is a 2. And this is a 3. This you see here is on the card. There's a scratch on the card. This was the first iron I ever owned. And this is the third iron I ever owned. Now, to me, the 2 looks a lot better than the 3. But, you know, it's got a mushed corner here, and it's got some paper loss there. But, you know, his face is clean. The hat is pretty much free of snow. This one, it's got a scratch, but, you know, his face is fairly clean. This is a nice looking 3, don't get me wrong, but this is a much better looking 2. And again, it's, you know, it's just, grading has its advantages and its disadvantages. And you can collect however you want. It's just not working tonight, huh? Alright, 3PO. Go sit down. But, so you can have your advantages and your disadvantages to grading. So there you have 2 iron rookies with different assigned grades. They look totally different, but I guess it's the eye of the beholder. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, as far as which one looks nicer. So there you have it. Okay, here's the comic book portion of tonight's episode. There are essentially 3 comic book graders: CGC, CBCS. I had to look because it's got 4 letters, it gets confusing, and PGX. CGC, the Certified Guaranteed Company, is pretty much the PSA for comics. CBCS, which stands for Comic Book Certification Service, CBCS. They're essentially I think actually BGS owns them. Not 100% sure on that, and they're pretty much like BGS. And then PGX is kind of like SGC for modern cards. They're just a distant third. So, we're just going to talk about CGC's grading scale, because I think all 3 of them are pretty much the same. I'm not very familiar with, I don't own any CBCS stuff or PGX, so I can't really speak on them, but I'm going to speak on CGC and try to inform you guys a little bit, give you some learning. I'm going to show you my favorite comics. Now, they're graded the grading scale's a little different than cards. It's a little more specific than cards. It goes from 10 down to 0.5. But it's not always half point interviews. It's 10, 9.9, 9.8, 9.6, 9.4, 9.2, 9.0, 8.5, 8, 7.57, all the way down to a half. So you get 1 and then a half. So now, the important thing to keep in mind with comics is a lot more goes into it. there's a lot more required when they're grading a comic. They actually have to go through the entire comic, make sure all the pages are there, make sure there's nothing missing on the pages, make sure there's no writing on the pages, no tape. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Now, they have, I'll just show one comic first. This is my Amazing Spider-Man number 38. It is a 6.5 white pages. Yeah, white. Oh, off-white to white pages. There. Now they give you a page quality as well. White, off-white. You know, off-white to white. Off-white. I think there's tan. You know, as the book deteriorates, you can get a different grade on the page. It's a very. This is a. These both are newer. This is very. I think I have an older one in here. I'll show you. But this is very sturdy. This is very. The older generation, you could twist it, and actually, you could. Part of it, you could have open. So they did a very good job with this upgrade. I want to say it's probably 3 years ago now. I haven't looked at these in a long time. So 6.5, according to CGC. It's a fine plus, FN plus, an above average collectible with a major defect and some smaller defects, or a significant accumulation of small defects. So it doesn't tell you. You know, there's nothing. I mean, this is a blue flip. You know, they have a green flip and a purple flip. They have a yellow flip, which is the signature series, but I always get confused. The green and the purple one is restoration. I forget exactly, but mine are all blue flips. So that's important. The next comic I wanted to show you is a Amazing Spider-Man 129, and it's in a 2.0 with cream to off-white pages. Cream to off-white pages. So this is a beater. You know, this is it's got a lot of spine wear. You're not going to be able to see it in this video. It's got a lot of spine wear. And it's a 2.0. So let's see what they say about 2.0. 2.0 is good. A collectible that shows extensive evidence of handling it with numerous moderate to major defects. And, you know, in person you would be able to tell it. You know, the spine is pretty worn. So next up is a, from 1977, is a Star Wars #1, which they created before they had the imagery of the movie. So it's a little wacky looking. You know, Vader's a little wacky looking. Luke looks alright, but. And this is in a 8.5, off-white to white pages. Man, that glare is a killer. And again, it's in the good case. So 8.5. Let's see what they say. 8.5. Very fine plus, VF plus, an attractive collectible with a moderate defect or a number of small defects. Okay. Next up is a comic, and again, these are all, except for the Spidey 38, you know, which I think was the last, was this the last Ditko, I think, yeah. You know, this is another one, you know, the Star Wars, the one prior, the ASM 129, the first appearance of Punisher. Those are all comics I wanted as a kid, but now as an adult I have. Next up is a very, I still think this is a very underrated comic as far as investing goes. But this is and again, this is the old flip, so you can kind of hear it. It gets creaky. But this is a 9.6. This is the Amazing Spider-Man #1. This is the Platinum Edition. which was like a retailer incentive. This was not sold, it was given to store owners and then they sold it. But it's got an all black cover on the back, which makes for tough grading. It shows it shows wear very easily. This came out in 1990, so this is now 30 years old, which is very scary to think about. And you know, the lettering is in platinum, and it's a nicer quality comic paper. It's got a glossy cover, so it's a 9.6. And for 9.6, Nearman Plus, a very well preserved collectible with several minor manufacturing or handling defects. Alright, next up, a comic that is now 28 years old. Jeez. Scary to say that out loud, but this is a comic that they made a lot of, but I still think it has a lot of room for improvement. If you want to grab one, I said that a couple years ago, but it still rings true, and that's Spawn #1. You know, when McFarlane left Marvel for Image Comics to co-create Image Comics, this was his baby, and it's actually still going on. And as I like to say, I think Spawn, and again, this is my opinion and it's not a fact, Spawn is, I think, the highest selling comic that nobody reads. Or like, no, that's not fair. The highest selling comic with the lowest amount read ever. I've never read a Spawn comic. But I mean, this is fairly epic cover, and this is a 9.8, which is a near mint / mint. A nearly perfect collectible with negligible handling or manufacturing defects. Essentially, this is a PSA 10. That's it for the grades, but I just wanted to show a couple more comics off while I have you. This is scary to think this is now 32 years old. This is ASM 300, Amazing Spider-Man 300, the first appearance of Venom, in a 9.6, white pages. Now, it took me a while to track this down years ago because this comic, the centering on the spine is very tough to find centered. It's called a wrap in comics, but because of the back cover is black, if it's miswrapped this way, you can get black showing along the edge here, which takes the appeal away, in my opinion. So this is a very, very strong 9.6. And again, it was graded a long time ago. Now it might be a 9.8. And here's another comic I wanted to show you guys. This is now 36 years old. Wow. This came out when I was 13. And this is G.I. Joe number 21, 9.6. Maybe I should have done it this way. You can see my face right there. Sorry about that. But this is known as the silent issue. There are no words in this comic other than the advertising. But the story itself has no words in it. So I've always liked that comic. So I wanted to get a graded copy for myself. I have a raw beater somewhere of it. But so basically, you've got the following grading scale for CGC. Gem Mint 10, the highest grade assigned. The collectible must have no evidence of any manufacturing or handling defects. Now, that's essentially a BGS 10 black label. That's the best analogy I can give you on that. Then they have a 9.9. The collectible is nearly indistinguishable from a 10.0, but will have very minor manufacturing defect. It will not have any evidence of handling defects. See? So that's like a BGS 10. 9.8 I read you, 9.6 I read you, 9.4 very well preserved. I mean, again, it's so minute, you know. And again, like the whole premise of tonight's discussion is that, you know, grading is a vessel. You know, it takes from one person, goes to the one owner, gives it to a third party authentication and grading service who assigns it a grade, and then it's sold. Venue, eBay, Facebook, Craigslist, you know, whatever it may be, and winds up with the end user, who then might choose to, you know, wash, rinse, repeat. Again, I think it's important to remember that glare sucks, but to remember that you have to enjoy yourself with all of this. And, you know, time and time again, examples have been shown that you want to, you know, buy the item, comics, cards, coins, whatever it may be, toys. You want to buy the item, you want to own the item, you want to enjoy the item, you want to enjoy your collecting experience, your collecting journey, your collecting marathon. So it's important to try, as a collector, to worry less about the assigned grade and be happier owning the product. You know, it might not necessarily be in the best assigned grade, and there are multiple examples all over the internet of third-party grading, getting it wrong, missing stuff. And again, like all aspects of life, nothing is perfect. People are going to make mistakes. It happens. Sometimes intentional. Most of the time, I wouldn't say it's intentional. And there you have it, the conclusion of tonight's episode. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope that you are well and spending time communicating with your friends. This hobby is very important to a lot of us. And the thing that makes this hobby so much more enjoyable are spending memories and making memories with our friends. Until next time, be kind.